on the governance landscape of the country, the progress of the government, and the overall national composition. It's always good to be here because this is the premier platform where the governor of Liberia speaks, and the positions that are given here clearly represent. And that is why I continue to be here at the Ministry of Information. Today, the press briefing is not going to be long. We have a distinguished gentleman who has done extremely well in transforming the civil service of our country. Don't forget, the civil service is one of the sectors that encounters significant damage under the past administration. And when President Weah was inaugurated as President of the Republic, and if for any reason you want to be delinquent, that delinquency will affect your salary at the end of the month. Take seriously the work you do. So Mr. Jokai is here, and this was not, that introduction was not meant to inflate his personality, just meant to say to you that Mika is closely following the work that you're doing at the Civil Service Agency. And of course, the Mika platform has been fully neutralized by you. And we always call on all of the features of the government to do more than what you have done. So he's here with his team of technicians from the ministry, from the entity. He comes to speak to very important issues. 2 days ago, or maybe a day ago, so students from public institutions taken to the streets. According to them, the actions were premised on the absence of teachers from the classrooms. So they came to demand the government to take action. We cannot pretend about the reality of our country. We have repeatedly indicated that the country is faced with multi-sectoral challenges. Steps have been taken to address some of the challenges. We can't give excuses. We take on these challenges boldly and ensure that we can derive a solution to take our country forward. So Mr. Jokai is here to lay out the swift response that the sector, the government, has given to that protest. If the issue that led to the protest is the absentee teachers, he will address it. Of course, the Ministry of Education has already spoken. They lay out how they intend to address it. But when it concerns the welfare of public servants, Mr. Jokai is at the epic center because he has a CSA. So he's here today. He'll be speaking about the protests and some other issues that are relevant to the workings of the CSA. He will speak, and as always, he will take questions from you. But those questions are taken from the press to provide answers. But before we invite Mr. Jokai to the podium, we'd like to clear our chest on certain issues that are unfolding in the country. Of course, these issues include the groundbreaking development in the road infrastructure. You already know that the government of Liberia has commenced the construction of a bridge We are told that the bridge is 825 meters long. That bridge is a landmark accomplishment. Throughout the existence of the country, people who want to go to Payroll, people who live in the southeast, central Liberia, to go to western Liberia, you have to come to Monrovia, drive through Mosurata County, go to Payroll or Bomi. This bridge will connect the central county of Bom to Payroll. This bridge connects Bom and Payroll. This is why it is a landmark accomplishment. If you are coming from southeast, you're coming from Lofa, you're coming from Nimba, you do not have to come to Monrovia to go to Payroll County. This bridge will connect central Liberia to western Liberia. It's a landmark accomplishment, and the Ministry of Public Works is leading the construction of this bridge. I have to say to you that the bridge is fully funded. The construction of this bridge is fully funded by the government of Liberia. Prior to this groundbreaking ceremony, people were crossing in canoes to move into western Liberia from central Liberia. So the bridge will bring some relief to the public. You will see the increase in commercial activities. It will also provide some level of convenience for commuters to move around across counties, across regions without hindrance. Still on the road infrastructure, of course, you know that there's also ongoing the construction of a bridge to connect Liberia to Ivory Coast over the Kavala River. And that project will also boost trade between the two countries. And as a government, we are very appreciative for these interventions that we are making in consultation with our regional and international partners. Last rainy season, there were pictures on social media about car being stuck in the mud. Most of the pictures you saw were taken between the corridor from Ganta to Second P. So the Ministry of Public Works have been working closely with the Ministry of Finance, and funding for the construction of that corridor has been made available. The project will resume, and we anticipate that before we enter the height of the rainy season, that corridor will be pliable to facilitate the movement of goods and services across cities and across other regions. The Banga to Salaye Road has also restarted, and it will be completed. And after that corridor is completed, don't forget, some of the funding that are being used on the Banga to Menikoma Road, some of those fundings are provided by the Kuwaiti government. And so to continue the road from Salaye to Vonjama, the government of Liberia will send a delegation headed by Finance Minister Augustine Fuyi Gafuan and Public Works Minister Honorable Rolling Guinness, they will be in Kuwait to conclude negotiation on funding for the next segment of the road, that is from Vonjaman, from Salaye to Vonjaman. The government places emphasis on these ongoing road construction across the country because roads form part of the government's arrest agenda for inclusive development. It is part of the president's vision that in order for us to expand the Liberia economy, road connectivity is pivotal. So the delegation will be in Kuwait and Lanston to conclude with the Kuwaiti authorities on the provision of funding for the road from Salaye to Vonjaman. Yesterday, the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia entertained argument on the Bill of Information that was submitted to the court by the former Speaker and other members of the House of Representatives. We followed the arguments in the court, and as a government, we will continue to insist that the court must be seen as a forum for dispute resolution. No other place should we go to resolve dispute but the court. That's why the government continues to create an enabling environment. So the arguments were heard yesterday. The Supreme Court, the Honorable Supreme Court reserved ruling. But there has been a lot of misrepresentation, misinterpretation of what happened on the court yesterday. One of the missing points here, I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And this is because everybody wants to be political. Following the ruling of the Supreme Court, the Attorney General of the country, the Justice Minister, Councillor N. Oxford Twelve, he came here to give an interpretation of the Supreme Court ruling to the Chief Executive of the country. That action of the Attorney General was blindly criticized by some who believe that interpretation didn't go their way. We went to the court yesterday, and the justices said that the Attorney General acted in the right direction to have interpreted the ruling because his action is supported by the law. But some of you who criticize that decision to say the Attorney General ain't got no right to do it, the Supreme Court said his action was right. But you're not talking about it. What you are not talking about, you are making predictions about issues that will plunge the country into chaos. We do respect the court. We're not going to delve deeper into this matter because the court has already reserved ruling on it. I just thought to raise this issue so that we can be mindful of how we elevate issues. It is good to talk about these things in the national conversation, but we can't be cherry picking. You go to the court say the Attorney General was right. You don't talk about it. What you talk about is how the court was asking another question. But the crux of this issue rests on the interpretation that was given by the Justice Minister following the Supreme Court ruling. And it is based upon that interpretation that the executive branch proceeded to do business with the legislature. And the court has said that he was right. But we're not talking about that. We have confidence that the impasse at the legislature will be brought to rest. And we are hopeful that the Honorable Supreme Court will come up with a verdict. Of course, the verdict in such instances will not have to please the two parties. But what we seek for is a resolution that will restore calm to the first branch of government. We can see further on that. The Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication is expected to announce the imminent opening of Liberia Digital Forensic Lab. This groundbreaking initiative aims to enhance Liberia's technological landscape, thereby promoting innovation in the digital sector. The facility will serve as a vital hub for research, development, and training in digital technologies, positioning Liberia as a leader in West Africa's digital revolution. Liberia Digital Forensic Lab is designed to foster collaboration among local innovators, entrepreneurs, and students, providing them the resources to explore emerging technologies and create solutions tailored to the unique needs of the Liberian market. With a strong emphasis on software development, data analytics, and telecommunications, the lab will enable hands-on learning and experimentation, empowering a new generation of tech professionals. The launch of this lab represents a significant step forward in Liberia's commitment to cultivating a vibrant digital economy, fostering innovation, and ensuring that all citizens can reap the benefits of technological advancement. The Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication equally anticipates the positive changes this initiative will bring to Liberia. Just lastly, before I take my seat, when we were here Thursday, we mentioned that there are people who continue to focus on distracting the country from the current path of progress. They want to be political about things. And to that effect, we mentioned that the former president of the country posted something on his Facebook page. He deleted it. He was cautioned to put himself together and continue to carry himself like a former leader. He's not a only former leader like we that. You got President Sabine. You see how she continued to carry herself as an elderly statesperson. Apparently, the former president is not taking heed to our advice, which is very unfortunate. He met with the UN, the ECOWAS, and made his statements. And after he removed the post, he reposted it to the effect that the current administration is undermining democracy, they are intimidating voters, and that he accepted the result of the election because he respects peace, as if to say he did Liberia in a favor by accepting defeat. Let me say this to the former president, because it keeps coming back. I accepted the result because of this. You didn't do Liberia no favor by accepting results. You were given a bloody nose in the election where your government stole millions of dollars from the central bank, thinking that it would buy the votes of the Liberian people, and in the end, you were defeated. You have to sit and lick the wounds that you sustained from that defeat. Nurse your injuries and dust up to move on. But if you are stuck in that state that is leading you to falsely believe that by accepting defeat following a desperate performance in the election, you did a country favor, you make a mistake. It was not optional. You had no option. The stolen wealth could not save you. The intimidation against political opponents could not save you. Liberians brave the storm. They defied nature and moved into history. It would seem to me that the former president also needs to be reminded about some of the things that constitute undermining democracy. So let me just remind him, and I need your undivided attention. Mr. Former President, democracy is undermined when you finalize the illegal removal of the Chief Justice or the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Even though the very ECOWAS you're going to now to give a different picture of what is happening in the country, they intervened, and your government was instructed to do certain things, and you disrespected the outcome of the verdict from the ECOWAS court. Democracy is undermined when professional auditors who are employed in the service of their country who died on questionable situations and not a single investigation was concluded. Democracy is undermined when those who disagree with your government are considered enemies of the state. Democracy is undermined when public safety is eroded and that you, as leader of the country, will tell citizens to buy CCTV camera for themselves. Democracy is undermined when Liberia as the oldest independent nation on the African continent is reduced to laughing stock on the international scene. When our passports were being sold to criminals and drug dealers across the world. Mr. President, democracy is undermined when security forces, particularly those in the EPS, are reduced to wearing party paraphernalia publicly in a show of loyalty. Democracy is undermined, Mr. Former President, when officials of your government were sanctioned on a daily basis for acts of criminality and human rights offenses, including murder. Mr. Former President, democracy is undermined when you left this country for 48 days, went in the wilderness to watch football game. Democracy is undermined when political opponents are intimidated simply because they disagree with you. We have to remind these people. The country has moved past the dark era where there was no respect for the rule of law, where people will leave the street by 6 o'clock because they don't support your political agenda. Look at the country 1 year on. We are all moving together. People who work with entities of government are not there waste content because they support the CDC. Here at the very Ministry of Information where we are speaking from, there are people who are visible in the campaign. They have their waste content. So what is the former president talking about? Maybe those who are involved with fast checking in the media, they have to reach out to the former president, because from all indication, he's existing in the state of utopia, and he needs to be reminded that the reality on the ground have changed. There's a new sheriff in town. There are groundbreaking development taking place across the country. The central bank is operating independently. How many of you don't know that in the last 2 months of the administration, it took $83 million from the central bank? Today, this government is paying back what they took from the central bank. The commercial banks. Who broke down commercial banks? You have a government today that has ensured that all these commercial banks are properly liquid. So that you can't give you a check and the check comes back saying no sufficient funds. They don't want us to focus on the development path. The record of party corruption have been defeated. They have been outperformed. Of course, they were outmaneuvered. And some of those who are now the talk show host go on the show, open your wild mouth and get talk. Because talk is free. Well, yeah. When they marched on the University of Liberia campus, brutalized young Catholics on what grounds? Because we disagree politically. Took these people on the university campus, and you were parading yourself like the day they not conquer Paris. You want the university campus. You brutalize students. And as a result, they pay you back. You are defeated. You now turn to a regular talk show commentator, and you think your voice is making any impact? You think these people have forgotten? We want to remain focused on why we are here. And we're doing that. That's why I chose the development news before you responded to some of the things that they are agitating in the media. The country is challenged. Today we are here discussing salary top-ups for civil servants. Who reduced civil servant salaries? In the name of harmonization. Apparently, the former president has a memory strength that can be compared to that of a mosquito. So we'll not hesitate to keep reminding him. The country democracy is flourishing unlike in time past. The pendulum of power shifted. There is a new sheriff in town. No more business as usual. And those who looted the covers of this country on an industrial scale will account for it. Sando will not be the last person, he will not be the first person. The asset recovery team is investigating. They are concluding some other investigation. And they will come here to announce the names of people who will be indicted. Not for building schools, not for building bridges, but for stealing from the country. They enter government, they couldn't afford rent for 2-bedroom apartment. They left government with multi-million-dollar properties across the country. They are here. We know them. And when the government tried to set the record straight and lead by example, go after people who stole for this country, you think you can come back here and use your democracy on the cliche to distract us? You are wasting your time. Is that the
Thank you so much. Charles, Weah to get some of the information from the information what you guys Mr. Joker from the civil servant.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Minister. Yeah, I like the part that sounded like a poetry. Talk about when democracy is undermined. Yeah, but thank you. And again, I want to congratulate the Minister, Honorable Weah, the Acting Minister, Honorable Sando, and the entire team of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. Every time I come here, I get inspired, and there's something I have to write down to take back to the Civil Service Agency. Something I can replicate at the CSA as far as the branding of this institution is concerned. So I want to congratulate you, Mr. Minister. The team is doing an exceptional work, and we're very proud of you for the job you continue to do. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, the last time when we appeared here, we informed you about some of the top-ups we've done for civil servants in the security sector, health, education, and agriculture. I reminded you that we work with the agriculture ministry, and we put everything in place to hire a set of 73 agriculture extension officers. I told you about it here under the top-up plan. The ministry thought that we should bridge that gap that was created for the last 6 years. Those people never existed. Those roles were not provided across our country. We now have that. And I also informed you that we tapped up the salaries of employees, that's teachers specifically of the Ministry of Education, to a large extent. The process is still ongoing for other categories, but some are already receiving the top-up Ministry of Education. We have done top-up in the health sector significantly. I gave you some updates regarding that, and today I want to give you additional updates on the top-ups we've done in the health sector. So to date, we have increased the salaries of 5,613 employees of the Ministry of Health, including nurses, midwives, anesthetists, physician assistants, lab technicians, and support staff across the sector. That is also still going, but this is very significant because this has been a major concern of the president, and in keeping with his vision to ensure that his government improves the well-being of the employees to be able to perform their duties in an effective and efficient way, and to deliver on the mandate of the Liberian people. I want to let you know that the CSA is working with all the sectors concerned to make sure that the president's vision is realized in that respect. As the acting minister told you a few minutes ago, that when we took over, we may reduce salaries, and the conditions of civil servants were very appalling. You know that, we know that, no secret. So today we can proudly tell you that this government is taking all the necessary steps to improve the well-being of civil servants. It's going to happen in accordance with time, but we are very robust in the process. Additionally, more than 120 doctors were reclassified in ranges from 2,300 to 3,500 salaries. And it took us around $3.9 million to realize that annually. Right now, the least salary in the sector they have is $180. I think that's highly commendable. Moving away from $99, taking home from $140, $150 is now $180. And we work with the Ministry of Health to achieve all of this. We also we are processing the personnel action notices of 39 newly licensed doctors. You guys started to use around from the newly licensed doctors around, protesting their status. And these are people who are serving us, providing healthcare services. So we have to make sure that we address their issue and give them the dignity they deserve to motivate them. So there are about 39 of them, and the impact on the side of government is going to be $1.1 million on an annual basis. And we are committed to that. President Joseph Weah is committed to that, and he's demonstrating it. We have also processed 21 pharmacists, and the annual impact is around $300,000. At this point, the Civil Service Agency is working with the Ministry of Health to make sure that we address the health volunteers issues. We have hundreds of them who have been volunteering for years. Even over the last 6 years, none of them managed to get on the payroll. So the Ministry of Health and CSA, we are working together. The county health officers in the 15 counties have compiled the names of legitimate volunteers in the different health centers across the country. Those names are being reviewed, they are being verified by the Ministry of Health for consideration. And when they are, CSA will also sit at another level of verification and cross-checking with the Ministry of Health to make sure that indeed they are health workers who deserve to be brought into the centralized payroll system. And we are ready to do that because the Ministry of Finance, thankfully, has made the money available for that. And we are working with CSA with the Ministry of Health to ensure that that is done. Some of these volunteers will also be directly replacing those who have been retired, those eligible retirees in the health sector. So our projection for retirement for this year in the health sector is 369. And of the 369, about 81 of them are deemed specialists in different areas. And so the Ministry of Health and the Civil Service Agency have agreed and are very mindful that these specialists, you cannot treat their retirement process like our normal established retirement process because we need them in the system. So what we have done is to give dispensation as CSA. So the Ministry of Health will take more time over the next 1 year, 1.5 years to 2 years. They will take time, and once they find the right replacements for them, then as they phase out, we will bring in the specialists to immediately replace them so we don't create void in the health sector. That's something that we must never do. So we're committed to that. The remaining positions that will be vacant after the retirees are moved into the NASCO pension payroll will be filled also by some of the volunteers. So I thought to update the nation about what we are doing as a government to be able to address the critical needs of health workers in our country. And I think it's a new day for us in our country that something is being done by our government to address the situation, give them the motivation, give them the encouragement and the satisfaction that they need to be able to do their jobs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I also want to update you that today the Civil Service Agency officially started a 2-day retreat on our strategic planning and annual work plan, validation and adoption. We initiated the process earlier this year, but then we had to pause it because of the development of the arrest agenda for inclusive development. We wanted to ensure that our strategic plan, our 5-year strategic plan, is appropriately aligned with the arrest agenda for inclusive development. Because everything that we do as entities, government functionaries, we must ensure it is consistent with the AAID. So we today opened officially the retreat, and we had a Director General of the Cabinet, Honorable Natani Kwabo, who came and addressed us in the opening section. We had the Director General of LIPA, and then the Chairman of the Governance Commission, represented by Honorable Stanley Packlin, one of the commissioners. That retreat is ongoing and is going to end tomorrow with the validation and adoption of the annual work plan and the 5-year strategic plan of the Civil Service Agency. You may recall that in February this year, His Excellency President Joseph Weah Sr. suspended more than 400 officials of government who failed to declare their assets in keeping with the law, particularly the act establishing the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission and the Code of Conduct for public officials. Following a thorough review of the LACC listings, about 148 officials, including board members across ministries, agencies, and commissions, were affected by the President's action. Working very closely with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the Central Bank of Liberia, we are pleased to inform the public that the total amount withheld from the salaries of non-compliant officials by the Civil Service Agency stands at $90,808.56. To date, I am pleased to report that we have saved $79,177.65. This is our escrow account balance as of the time that I'm speaking to you, because I received a statement from the central bank before coming. That's what we have in the escrow account from that initiative. You may recall that we created an escrow account. We don't want that money to loosely remain in the system to be misapplied or misused. And so we created a special account, and I'm reporting that in that account, we've been able, working with the Office of the Controller and Accountant General, we've been able to move $79,177.65. So the variance of $11,630.91 to make it the total of $90,808.56 is a result of 4 of the officials from the Ministries of Internal Affairs and Foreign Affairs whose salaries were not withheld due to early payroll approval in February. We have effectively written them, the 4 officials, and provided the escrow account details for them to deposit their March salaries into the account. We also copied the ministers of the 2 entities appropriately. It is our hope that they will do so before our next report to the Chief Executive, the President, on the status of his asset declaration mandate. As you already know, the President has directed that the Civil Service Agency work with the Ministry of Education to purchase chairs for students under his One Child, One Chair presidential initiative, to which we are very committed to apply these resources to. Unfortunately, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report that about 212 non-compliant officials from state-owned enterprises have not complied to date. We are emphasizing immediate actions on their part to do so. Currently, the Civil Service Agency is working with Honorable Ato Masakwe, the Director General of the Bureau of State Enterprise, in keeping with the President's mandate to collect the money. He is making last efforts to ensure that their salaries are blocked and deposited into the escrow account. I can assure you that if they fail to comply this time, we will appropriately inform the president of the continued non-compliance of the officials concerned. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, efficiency and discipline in the public service is critical to achieving productivity. So we have initiated a major process leading to that. Prorating employee salaries based on days absent is an effective administrative and financial management strategy to promote accountability and discipline within the civil service workforce. Government institutions safeguard public funds and foster a culture of responsibility by deducting pay for unexcused absences from work. Over time, we are confident that this practice will improve efficiency, productivity, and service delivery across government entities. It also enhances fairness and transparency in payroll management, ensuring that compensation aligns with work performed. Against this backdrop, deductions were applied to employees' salaries due to absences, and there are about 60 of them across 9 different government spending entities. Their combined number is 415 days absence in total, which resulted in a total deduction of $8,800, $2.36, which was remitted to the government coffers. But we also want to assure you that we are going to follow that money. We also want to make sure that the Comptroller and Accounting General cut that money. We will decide, cut a check for that money, and we will decide later on to put that money into an escrow, because this is going to be a continuous process. Every month we'll cut the money for absences from work without appropriate or legit excuses. Similarly, a 10% gross salary deduction was applied to 30 human resource directors across government entities who failed to submit attendance reports for their respective entities during remittance from those deductions is $5,699 was returned to government coffers for the reporting period. So the two amounts, the 8,000 and change, the 5,000 and change, might come to around $13,000 or $14,000, something a significant project. And as I said, we'll continue to do it, so you can see that our money incrementally will be huge. From now to December, we'll continue that. I want to let you know that we will not continue this manual process, because the Civil Service Agency is automating the recruitment, the performance management, the time and attendance systems. And we will have a dashboard with these systems, with portals, and the system is going to be connected to the payroll, the centralized payroll. That means a few months from now, once we actualize this landmark project, automatically employee salaries will just be prorated. Because when you come to work, you're going to have that camera fingerprint device. It will be both fingerprint and camera. So even if you don't want to do the fingerprint, it's going to capture you. And there will be a report to the repository. And your prorated salary will be there, and we will have the difference that will come out from your salary. So meaning that we're going to be prorating automatically once we have the systems in place, the human resource management systems in place. I just wanted to let you know about that. Talking about that, I need to go back to the asset declaration, and Mr. Minister, this is very important. I will try to leave a copy with you. all the checks that were cut from the entities of affected government officials. These are the receipts that we received from the central bank and the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. So from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, a total of $36,911.75 was deposited in the escrow for officials who are non-compliant. For the Ministry of National Defense, a total of $2,541 was blocked and deposited into the escrow account. For the Bond County Community College, a total of $5,000 was blocked and deposited into the escrow account. From the Liberian Land Authority, a total of $4,117.50 was blocked and deposited into the One Child, One Chair project account. From the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, a total of $5,882 was blocked and deposited into the escrow account. From LRRC, a total of $7,284.80 was blocked and deposited into the escrow account. From the Governance Commission, a total of $200 was blocked and deposited into the escrow account. From the Ministry of State, a total of $7,284.80 was blocked and deposited into the account. From the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a total of $896 was blocked and deposited into the account. From the Public Procurement Concession Commission, $1,800 was blocked and deposited into the account. From the Ministry of Labor, a total of $4,343.80 was blocked and deposited into the account. And from McGill University, a total of $5,000 was blocked and deposited into the account. Honorable Minister, I will also share with you this information for your record. Fellow citizens, this is a moment that touches me, and the lady, Richard is not here, right? The lady is not here, Richard. I really want her to come here and you hear from her directly. This is a patriotic citizen, very patriotic. And I'm going to say this. Richard Colley is a former employee of the Ministry of Education. Yeah. And I really like to recognize her in this public manner for her outstanding displays of integrity and commitment to public service values. Following her resignation from the Ministry of Education in September 2024, Mrs. Colley discovered that salary payments had continued to be deposited into her account from October 2024 through March 2025. Without hesitation, she contacted the Civil Service Agency and voluntarily reported the unauthorized payments. And the unauthorized payments, United States dollar total is $1,295. And Liberian dollar total is $90,000 that we have. In my hands here, I have all the flag receipts and documents and the statement from the deposit she made with the LRA. And she brought a set of the copies to the Civil Service Agency so that we can have the pieces of evidence of her deposit, of the salaries she's been receiving. But what touched me most, I said, please write me 2 sentences to amount to a statement from you. Why did you do that? And here's what she wrote in our court. I was moved by the fact that I did not work for the money, so I actually don't deserve it. We should get what we work for. My name is Richard K. Colley. I am a former staff of the MOE, unquote. That's a Liberian in this time and era who is saying this. This is not for the CSA to blow its own horn. This is intrinsic, it's coming from within Rachel. But I'm sure Rachel was also immensely motivated by what President Waka's government is doing, emphasizing the need for accountability and transparency in the public service. People act when their leaders demonstrate values of integrity, of transparency. It doesn't happen in vacuum. The Liberian people are looking up to us to provide leadership. So their actions and their activities will be consistent with our demonstrated leadership values. That's what she has demonstrated. Rachel deserves an accolade. She deserves an award. This is a demonstrated example. Now, let me tell you, the CSA every day is blocking such people. As I speak to you right now, we have a case involving a former lawmaker who resigned from an entity and has taken salary over 11 months. I have written that lawmaker to let him know what is coming, and we have informed the entity. We are launching a separate investigation into that, and the result will be made public. We don't keep anything secret at the Civil Service Agency. No secrecy. That's not what President Walker has taught us to do. To be very open, to be transparent, to be accountable in our dealings, no matter your status in this country. So I wanted to let you know. So Rachel, if Rachel comes while we're still speaking, we'll then give her the opportunity, at least 1 or 2 minutes to talk to you. In response to the recent disturbances within the Monrovia Consolidated School System, the MCSS, especially the protest action of our precious students who are supposed to be in school from the system schools, there are about 25 of them. The government of Liberia, through a high-level coordinated effort involving the Ministry of Education, the Civil Service Agency, and the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, have launched a series of targeted measures aimed at restoring calm to the situation, to the MCSS. Ministers Augustine Behegafwan, Jaso Male Jala, and I, Josiah F. Joka Jr., have taken appropriate measures to address the situation. We have encouraged all MCSS teachers and students to resume classes as the government takes action to address the issues and challenges within the MCSS school system. We decided that to ensure that the CSA payroll is not unnecessarily bloated and quality as well, the MCSS schools, the teachers, the administrators, and when I say teachers, I'm talking about both employed and volunteers, will be verified forensically. The Civil Service Agency is going to use our employment status regularization project system. Our system has so many integrations to detect fraud, duplication, and so forth. We have enhanced the system significantly, and the system speaks directly to our centralized payroll system, meaning all the payrolls of all the ministries, agencies, and commissions, including the very MCSS. So, the three of us, Dr. Jala, Honorable Gafwan, myself, decided that the Civil Service Agency will conduct a forensic payroll, educational credential, and physical verification of the entire workforce, including the administrative staff, the employed teachers, and volunteer teachers presented by the MCSS superintendent. Now, this is what we're going to do, the key objectives and actions. One, we establish an accurate and verifiable data of the teachers. So a comprehensive verification exercise to create a centralized, accurate, and up-to-date database of all teachers under the MCSS will be established. This will ensure that only active and legitimate employees are reflected on the MCSS payroll, and volunteer teachers are verified. Two, detect and eliminate ghost employees. Using our data analytics and field verification systems, the CSA will identify and remove non-existent or fraudulent names, commonly referred to as quote-unquote ghost employees, from the payroll. This effort aims to reduce waste expenditures and redirect resources towards improving the MCSS efficiency, productivity, and outlook. Three, we will verify credentials and that will inform policy decisions on recruitment, deployment, and classroom resource allocation to ensure equitable and effective learning environments. Mr. Minister, I have something to share here, and I'm not going to hold back. In my hand, I am holding WhatsApp chat history of what is referred to as MCSS family. Mr. Minister, the protests that took place involving our precious children, blocking streets, bringing to halt activities of the government, especially on Capitol Hill, did not just happen naturally as a result of quote-unquote a go-slow action, and because of the go-slow action, students had to get to the streets to protest on behalf of their teachers. But so many conversations took place amongst employees of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, and some of the comments are very disturbing. Some of the employees were warning and signaling in the comments here that employees of MCSS who will attempt to stop something called FRC, I think it's Faculty Representative Council or something, I could get it wrong, to stop them, they were going to have consequences. And they indicated that they support the go-slow action, and that in fact, they have deployed their intelligence among the students, members of the Student Unification Party on campus. The protests will happen, interrogation, and the CSA will be constrained to make transfers of people from one entity to the other, from the NCSS to other entity. I have this here. And I'm saying this publicly to let you know that what happened, unfortunately, involving our students, was not just a natural occurrence in solidarity with their quote-unquote teachers who abandoned the classroom. On that note, the Civil Service Agency is launching a robust investigation into this, and we'll let the public know the outcome. We're not taking this lightly. We will also work with the management of the MCSS and all other stakeholders concerned, including the board, which includes the Minister of Education, who is also highly interested in this. I don't know what else I should share this, but yes, in our meeting, I shared with the Minister of Education and the Minister of Finance, and I informed them that the CSA is looking into this very seriously and will make the outcome public. Honorable Minister, again, on behalf of the Civil Service Agency, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity you continue to provide to the CSA And we are always ready to come because we are accountable to the people and to be able to update them appropriately and provide the kind of information that the Liberian people need from their own
Good
government.
afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching. His name is Dr. Josiah F. Joka Jr. He is the Director General of the Civil Service Agency here in the Republic of Liberia. Today is the first day. Today we take our weekend break and join us on next Tuesday for another edition of